Wow, it's been a while since I've actually made a video on this channel. Most likely because I just wasn't feeling up to it, or the fact that the YouTube algorithm is so bad that it marks me for copyright over some of the dumbest things in the world. But what's this? A Joker movie. Yeah, I'm sure everyone in the world has already talked about this, considering I'm about, what, 2 weeks late to this matter? But it gave me something to talk about. And honestly, I want to talk a little bit about it. I think it's a good film. It's actually possibly the third film. Yes, I would say this is the third film that I actually saw this year that has been relatively good. I really like Shazam, I like Aquaman, and now you got the Joker, all taking place within the DC universe. Of course, this Joker film is supposed to be a standalone film, which seems that that's a concept that nobody really seems to understand. That it's not part of the DCEU or anything like that, or it doesn't really connect to the other films. It's just the Joker being Joker. Heck, even Joaquin Phoenix, I'm pretty sure, said that he wasn't going to do another one after this, that this was it, just this one standalone film. Which is completely fine with me. So, I don't know where this talk about sequels and other stuff is coming from, but yeah, I guess everyone just wants another one. And you know what? Honestly, don't blame them. I actually think this film is really well done, shot very well, casted very well, and the music's pretty good too, and very fitting for most scenes. If anything, I really did not think I was going to enjoy this as much as I did. I thought the film was being overly hyped for no reason, although I was looking forward to it ever since I saw the first trailer. I was like, yes, this is actually going to be the Joker I'm looking forward to. This psychological mess with get into your head type Joker. And for the most part, it kind of was, although he was mostly the psychotic one in this, which I guess you can say with every iteration of the Joker, he actually is psychotic. Or should I say, less like a sociopath and more of just a guy who has obvious mental issues, but just couldn't cope with the world around him. Well, if he was in his situation too, you'll probably get shitted on as well. Excuse me, I can't say that word on YouTube, I keep forgetting. Let's start from the beginning. You remember how people was always saying how DC is relatively dark, they can be a little bit too dark with their stuff. Well, I actually like that sort of DC. If anything, I actually enjoy that a little bit more than sort of the regular just upbeat stuff all the time. Don't get me wrong, trust me, I love Marvel films and I always review them and talk about them in great detail and how excited I usually am. When DC can actually be dark and have a reason for it, such as this film, and not just being dark just for the sake of, oh, we just want to be dark and broody just to be contrast to Marvel's sort of upbeat and bright personality, even though that Endgame and Infinity War and stuff can have definitely some dark moments in it, as well as some other Marvel movies can have some dark moments in it with people just dying off. When DC does dark right, you actually get stuff like Batman: The Dark Knight from 2008 with Heath Ledger, or you get this, which is such a big gap. It's been 11 years since we actually had a what I call a decent Batman film. But wasn't really on board, or at least I wasn't really that crazy about The Dark Knight Rises. I didn't really care for it, so sue me for that, but I'm just like in the minority on that one, but I don't really care. But I do like this one. This was something that came across as a project. Everyone that was involved with it was really on board. Everyone in here is giving it 100%. The cinematography is done well, which I have to admit, it definitely gave, I'm pretty sure everyone else in the world has already said this, it definitely gave a Martin Scorsese film feel to it. Film? Yeah. Yeah, it feels like one of those old 1970s, like, how should I put it, Taxi Driver, or, you know, sort of like that gritty city look. Even like the older Batmans, like Batman 1989, like Tim Burton stuff. It just looks like it's straight out of that sort of era, and I really like that. You don't really see too many movies like that. So just the movie itself, it's definitely a slow burn. It's not necessarily something that's very quick pace. It takes a while to build up, and when it builds up and it gets there, you're kind of on board. If anything, I know a lot of people have mixed views on how they feel about the film in terms of which parts that they like more. Me personally, I like more of the second half of the film, even though it felt more DC-ish, or should I say more comic book-ish as the second half. The first half, you can literally cut it out, and this cannot be a movie about the Joker, about a guy that's about to turn into the Joker. This can honestly be a movie about a guy who's slowly losing his mind and is going to go off the deep end at some point. That's what I got out of the first half. And then the second half, you have more of the comic book tropes in it, being chased by the cops and riots and stuff like that. Things where if you can honestly say, okay, now this feels like the Batman universe, even though I would give it this. All of it does feel like it's taking place in Gotham. Like, this is the crappy side of Gotham. This is the Gotham that Bruce Wayne, that Batman wants to clean up, and that Batman does clean up in the future. But this is before he becomes Batman. This is the time period where criminals are just kind of running wild, and there's civil unrest, and there's definitely a separation between the rest of the population of Gotham and that whole 1%, you know, those sort of Wall Street guys. And I really like that. It seems like it is making some sort of statement. There's definitely some parts where Joaquin Phoenix Joker is like doing some like weird dance routines, and although it didn't bother me as much as it bothered some other people, I personally thought the laugh was actually very annoying. Although you kind of get used to it, even though there's a reason behind why he has this laugh. Turns out it's more of a psychological thing, or it's more of a compulsion that he's just can't get rid of. It's basically a medical condition. It's one of his other medical conditions, especially next to his narcissism. Anyway, I still have to say that I did find the laugh kind of annoying at first, although you do get used to it, especially later on when it's played off in better situations, such as a scene where he's on the subway, and there's another point where he's actually on the talk show with Robert De Niro's character, and you just get a sense of this awkwardness with it, and it evokes an emotion, which is something that I haven't felt in a while. As far as like certain movies, like these past couple of months has been pretty much a dry spell. I think the last thing I went to go see in theaters was The Lion King, and I obviously did make a review on that. And I also seen Far From Home, which I also really enjoyed too. If there's one thing I can say about the dances and why they don't bother me, is how I interpreted that as it was something to where he was being put in his comfort zone, even after, spoiler alert, someone gets killed or he kills somebody, which he actually kills a number of people in the film. He would dance, or he would do something like rest his head and close his eyes, laugh, anything to sort of like calm his nerves. And every time he danced, to me, it seems like he was sort of in his element, that he just felt complete. And as the movie goes on, you start to see a difference in his walking, in his standing, in his talking. He's more confident, more brash, more out there. And he's just reveling in himself. He even says in the film that he doesn't believe in anything, and even with that being said, he still seems to say like he's making a sort of statement at the end, especially when he does a speech on the talk show. Overall, I can't really say too much without spoiling the entire film, but I'm pretty sure at this point everyone has already seen the film. I'll just say this much: it's a good movie, and if anything, if you haven't checked it out already, you probably should. I do recommend it. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'll definitely give it a solid 8. It has my seal of approval. And out of 4 stars, yeah, I'm looking at about 3.5. Okay then, I'm already tired of making videos. It's also 3 in the morning where I'm at, and I'm going to go to sleep now. Thank you for watching the video. If you clicked on it, like and subscribe. Hopefully it doesn't get taken down. If it does, I wouldn't be surprised. I can be off of YouTube for another couple of months or so. Whatever. Doesn't matter to me. Take care.